Welcome to this Behind the Board on Mixing Guitar Effects. So this one's a pretty cool one. We get to do some stuff with delay and have a good time with the stuff that we have on this track right now. We finally actually get to play around a little bit. So when it comes down to it, I'm going to leave the bass without any delays or anything on it. Just because it usually does not sound very great. So use that when you can. If you want to try it out, go for it. Usually you don't want it. But we'll start working on the guitars quite a bit here, creating slapback delays and creating some actual longer delays for things in the clean parts and so on. So I've listened to the track a few times, tried to get an idea on where things are going to sit. That's probably what you want to do first before you just start randomly throwing delays on things. Just kind of feel how much is going on in a section musically and see, hey, maybe I have some more room to put some extra delay here and so on. So I've done that already, and I think you should give that a shot. Go ahead and unmute these drums and start bringing these volumes up to kind of fit in with the drums and start feeling where there's room. But we're going to go ahead and get right to it here. We're going to work on the guitar left. Guitar left here is a heavy guitar. We know that by now. It sounds like this. So we're not going to do something big to it. We're just going to put a little bit of delay on it. And when you do your delay tracks, I'm just going to open this a little wider. When you do your delay tracks, you usually want to leave them at the end of your signal flow. So you want to use your EQs and your dynamic compressors before you put your delay on. Otherwise, the dynamic compressor will start compressing the delay, making the delay a little bit louder and everything, and that's not what you're looking for here. So I'm going to put it at the end. And here we go to plugins, we go to delay, and we're going to use mod delay 3. All right, here we are in the wet dry mix. I'm going to bring it down a ton for this one. I just want a little bit of delay. I'm going to bring it down to 5%, so almost all the way towards dry. I'm also going to just give it a 16th note. This is just a slapback delay at this point, a really quick delay, and I'm going to leave it. I'll give it 5% feedback too. Again, it's almost inaudible, but it will help the guitar part a little bit. Let's take a listen and see if this is sounding good. Yeah, you could actually hear when I did pull off and press the spacebar again, you heard a little bit of delay come right after it. Take a listen. It's so little, but it's helping a little bit. And that's what I like to do with my heavy guitars, not go too crazy. Sometimes you don't even need this, and if it starts feeling weird later, we'll take it off. But it usually does help. So I'm just going to drag that down to guitar right. Now we got both of our guitars working with that sound. Perfect. Now we have the chorus lead here. I want a bit more delay on that because it's singing a little bit more. Yeah, I want that to come out and be a little more exciting, so I want to use the delay to actually cause excitement in this area. So go to delay, mod delay 3, and we'll do this on quarter notes, and we'll take the wet dry mix down to 10 this time. Bring your feedback all the way up to, let's say, 18. Remember that our feedback is how many times it delays. So if we have it up more and more, we might get more than one delay, we might get 2, we might get 3, and so on. We're getting there. We're creating a little more space now, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to bring this up to about 12. Give that another listen. Yeah, and if you're not hearing the difference right away, click your bypass and you'll see how much tougher the sound was to begin with and how much kind of spacier. It gave us a little more room when we put the delay on. So check it out with and without. I know you might be thinking not a huge change, but these small changes all add up, so we're doing all of them. So let's go over to the clean guitar. This is the main guitar for the verse. And if you did go back and kind of get some levels and think about what you want to do in places, you'd see that this is pretty much what the main verse part is. So we don't want to put too much delay, but we would like it to have some texture. So let's put some mod delay 3 on it and bring it down to maybe around 7. So that's the wet dry mix is at 7%. I'm going to give it a bunch more feedback. I want to put that feedback around 20. And I'm going to put it on eighth notes. Try that out first. Feeling pretty good there. That's about all I would do there. We added a little more texture to that sound as well. So let's move down now to the verse lead. We'll get that one out of the way. I'm just going to rearrange these right now, actually, because we keep on having to skip. So if you want to rearrange them as well, just drag verse lead right under clean guitar. You won't have to do any more skipping now. Now, just to hurry up our workflow, I'm going to grab this mod delay 3 and start working with that because I want a very similar type of sound, probably a little bit less here. I'm pretty happy with that. Sounds great to me, so I'm going to leave that in there. And now we go to the fun part, the bridge. This is where I want to actually do some work. Let's start out with this top one. Take a listen first. All right, so not a ton here. We're going to put on our mod delay first. Here we go. And as you can see, I set that mod delay in my 4th slot rather than my 5th slot because I'm going to put a little bit of reverb on this too. And I usually put my reverb after my delays. You can do the opposite. You're not going to feel like much of a difference. But I like to put my delay first, get that delay working just on the track without it being affected by reverb, and then have the reverb kind of come on after it. So here we are. Let's get these strums sounding cool. Oh, you see the mistake I just made here. So when I dragged it down, when you drag these down, it doesn't automatically put you on the one you drag. You actually stay on the one before it. So what I'm going to do is just drag this one back up because that's the setting I did want. Let's drag that back up. And now I have the setting I did want before. So if you make that mistake, it's really easy to fix because you have your copied setting right down there on the next guitar or next drum or whatever you did to copy your setting down. So just keep that in mind. If you ever make that mistake, it's not the end of the world. It's actually a really quick fix. Now I clicked it, I'm highlighted on the correct track, and I'll start working on it. And that's what I'm looking for. I wanted some longer delay, so I moved it to quarter notes. And you can see I took my wet dry mix up a lot. My feedback's at 24% now. I'm getting a lot of repetitions, and it's sounding kind of spacey. That's what I want in this part, and I'm going to add some reverb as well to make it even spacier. Go down to your reverb plugin, and we'll use Deverb for now. Feel free to try the other ones out. We're just going to be focused on Deverb. Nice, easy one to use. I'm going to turn the mix on to about 10%, and we'll start in the large hall. We'll see if that feels nice. Cool. So we created some distance to this guitar part. So now we're not just mixing, bring the level up, bring the level down. We're actually feeling this a little more in the background, and that's what we're trying to create here, create some depth in this section. So let's move on to our second bridge guitar and start working on the delay there. Let's just listen to it first. Okay, this one is really there for texture. So let's bring our mod delay down, start working with that. Click on it. Don't make that mistake I just made again. And let's hear what it sounds like just with this on right now. It's not doing much to it. Let's try that dotted eighth note we talked about before. Now I feel like that's too busy, so I'm going to just leave it on an eighth note, give it a little bit of feedback, up to 30%. And we're going to come up to 30% on our wet dry mix too and see what that sounds like. Good. We got so much texture there. I don't really feel like it's necessary to put on reverb there, but if you'd like to give it a little reverb too, give it more texture, feel free to. And let's move down to the harmonics and have a little fun with that as well. Bring down our mod delay 3. And we'll take a listen first with this bypassed. Yeah, so this is that part where we have all these singular hits, and we want them to be a little more fun than just singular hits. So let's try that effect one more time. Maybe it'll work here. Very cool. That's working really nice for me. I don't want to put reverb on this one either. I don't find it necessary. Later on, if we're missing textures, we can add this in. But now, with my first listen through of the song, I didn't think we would need that much reverb in this section, just a little bit on those strums. All right, so there we are on mixing guitars with effects, and we have that all fixed up. Now we're going to get into a little bit more of the compression and equalization of the entirety of the guitars. We're going to do our macro mixing on that and get that all sounding right. All right, so thanks for being with me on this one. I'll see you on the next one.